Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Early yet.
So when Matt gets on, I'll just tell him that we'll discuss that. I'm sure you get another time, but let the kitty get together first. Yeah.
And, okay, we are live.
Marcia, can I join us in here?
He's gonna join us in here. He's just we are live now. He's just checking to make sure the live stream is working.
Okay. We're just waiting on Marshall, everyone, and then we'll get started. Morning, Lyle.
Morning, Ed.
I'm saying good morning.
Low profile, is the best thing to do.
I think it is so long.
Pushing my luck now, though.
Keeps his back to the camera, that's a good one.
You know, you should never let them see your face.
I see we have people in the waiting room too. Technology is not always as fast as you want it.
But also say, Dave, sometimes the operator isn't either.
I don't know why.
Yeah, we needed that for.
Marshall, we got several people in the waiting room.
Okey dokey.
Morning, Kent.
Morning, Dave, how you doing?
Not too bad.
Morning, Ed.
Morning, Ken.
Ken?
Good to see your face.
Got Dave, got Commercial. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Can I just ask who the one that's on the phone number is? That Chris Powers?
4041?
Maybe Chris Powers.
Chris Powers. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Looks like we got a group, so I'm going to call to order the February meeting for the Jefferson County Local Development Corporation. Let's see if the pledge goes with. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, it looked like you were kneeling for the flag, you were out of the picture. How was this time? Look at my jammies.
With that, I'll open to privilege of the floor. Is anyone? Minutes from our January 7th meeting. We all received them in our packet. Is there any additions and or corrections?
I move the minutes as submitted. Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Treasurer's report, Rob?
Yeah, page 10 of our packet. So we're a little bit above target on a linear basis. We've just received in, might be a timing issue, but we're achieving 104,000 a month on an average basis. Break even is 96,000, so that's good. We're receiving more revenue than planned. And on the other operational expense, we're spending less than planned, so that's good as well. We're spending on a linear basis, 84,000 a month. Our break even would be 96,000. So that shows up net income over expenses out to year. We have a surplus of revenue over expense of just under 79,000. Page 11, 12, and 13 of your packets are snapshots of the three major programs. Last year, all of them actually had a surplus because of just doing things virtually and what have you. I think we found a sweeter spot of being more efficient in spending money and hopefully getting the same out of it. Page 14 of our packet is our balance sheet. Our quick assets are about 2.7 million. They're down 33,000 from prior month. Our receivables total about 819,000 total. They're up just under 5,000 from prior month. Current assets are down 28,500 from prior month. Total assets are down 30,000 from prior month. Total liabilities are down just over 19,000 from prior month. Total capital is down about 10,000 from prior month. Page 15 of your packet is major loans that we have in the LDC. Lyle, I always ask this question, their status is still accurate as indicated?
Yes, it is.
Okay, very good. I will make a note, just because of some of the reduced payment claims we have a lot of people on, it looks like we've only collected about $5,000 in principal from prior month, and plus all the interest and everything. So this isn't really a major source of income for the LDC, but it's still the important reason why we are an LDC for these businesses. So that is the board report, treasurer's report, excuse me, and I will make a motion to present it as I presented.
I will second with Chris Powers.
Any questions? On the motion, all in favor, aye? Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Committee reports, alternative energy, Bill?
Yes, Paul and John, you might have to help me. I was trying to find my notes. I know we met a couple times since our last meeting. One time we met the developers from US White. We talked about the 2 champion projects. And we also met, I think it was a joint energy loan review again, we talked a little bit about, those two projects. I know there's a couple issues out there that I think the energy committee wants to push up to the full board, possibility of, rewriting or addressing our UTEP, for alternate energy projects. And I also, Rob brought up the question about, with the cost benefit analysis of some of these projects, we're actually meeting our UTEP requirements of 50%. So those are a couple of things that we probably need to address further as a board. And then, I don't know, is there anything else that we missed there, Paul or John or Rob?
We have the Philadelphia meeting we had on the Philadelphia, and I think later, I'll ask Mr. Chairman, are we going to talk about the email received last night?
I think the energy committee needs to talk more about it before we take it to the full board, unless you have,
Well, this has to be all consummated by the end of this month, which would mean then a special meeting.
Well, we already have a special meeting on the 18th.
Okay,
Not the board meeting though.
that'd be a board meeting.
so, I mean, we're gonna have to, I think we need to talk about the finances of the Philadelphia projects, and I didn't know if we could tag that along with our other executive session issue on the credit history of a company. So,
Just remember you're in the LPC right now, meeting,
okay,
that you may want to address it in the IDA meeting.
I was gonna bring it up under loan review.
okay, well, we're talking about our alternative energy committee stuff, so that's the reason.
I know.
Yeah.
Confusing.
And another thing, we haven't talked about this, but Rob sent an email and I hadn't seen it, that there's proposed legislation to change the way that solar projects can be valued for taxation. And that's something we should look at and discuss to see whether we want to oppose it or not. My concerns are, it all depends how they rate. Is this right, the regulations, is the state going to use generally accepted appraisal methodology for valuing projects, or are they going to use the procedures to drive the values that they want? So that's one of my concerns about the proposed legislation, so.
Paul, is that legislation for the smaller projects? In other words, it's not just for the, anything over 20 megawatts?
It's for everything.
Yeah, the two things, it's sort of repeat
It's
that.
in the New York State budget.
Yeah, the proposal, two things that are new.
I've been trying to get a hold of one of my former colleagues there to see if the directors of the Assessors Association has taken a position on it. I haven't got an answer yet, but they tried to put the same language in last year and it got removed, so it may get removed again. But if it gets put in and if they bastardize the generally accepted procedures, it could have a big impact on how we operate, and as it relates to calculating pilot agreements.
Two things too that are coming up. One, when we're doing cost benefit analysis of energy projects, we're supposed to assess how that project helps the state meet its renewable energy goals. And the same thing as looking at IDA, we'll have to kind of report on what they're doing to help the state meet the state's energy goals. But I don't have any further clarification on that yet.
So, for sake of argument, assuming those new guidelines get adapted and they're lower than any of the prior pilots that we've already written, are we gonna have to go back in and modify already approved pilots? And
I don't think you can answer that question, Ed, until you see what the standards are established for valuing the projects. Okay, if they use generally accepted appraisal methodology and all they do is establish a special discount rate for solar projects, I think we're okay. But if they go in there and determine that you can only use this revenue and you have to apply these expenses, you know, it could change how a project values out. My concern would be, what if the new procedures come up with a valuation model that shows our pilot agreements are more than what normal taxation would be?
Gotcha.
Okay, that's where my concern would come.
Oh, wasn't it, and I sent it to you because you understand the subject way better. And I figured we'd have a discussion about it, but my quick read and my limited understanding, it appears that it affects towns much more severely than IDA under their negotiating power under 487. Is that your quick read on that, or you don't have an opinion on that?
Well, it's gonna affect how projects are assessed for normal taxation, okay? It'll affect us because, like 487, IDAs are prohibited from charging a pilot agreement, executing a pilot agreement where the pilot payment is more than normal taxation. Okay, so it affects both 487 and what we would do just based on general municipal law and our requirements. Okay. You know, if you go through and use an ICERTA's calculator, that's all written to come up with an extremely low pilot payment. It's just something to watch to see if it makes it in. The other concern is they won't establish the standards until it's, you know, approved in the budget. So there's no real way to know before the budget's adopted what the standards are going to be. But it could change how we have to look at these projects.
Okay. Anything else? Looks like we got more work to do. Building and grounds?
Building and grounds, we have not had a meeting since last month. We're in the process of scheduling a meeting, hopefully next week or the week after. I'm not sure if Dave's got more information he wants to share or not.
No, just based on your availability that you sent yesterday, Ken, I'll get a call to the committee members and set something up as soon as possible, but why is progressing on how the plans look, I run those by the Building and Grounds Committee, and nothing back yet from our potential tenant. We'll see how that goes. That may be because of what's going on right now. So.
Dave Zembiak, did we get past that first right of refusal of Washington Street properties, whatever they're called?
Yes, we did. Yep.
Consummated?
Yep. We did. Yep.
Okay. So there's no holdups now?
No holds now. What we'll like to do as soon as we finalize issues with the Y product, we're looking at some changes that would minimize intrusion, disruption of businesses, the tenants below, and other structural issues that they're dealing with. Make some changes.
Okay.
So we're going to come back at some point.
Does any of that have anything to do with us receiving the $500,000 and signing the lease underlying?
No. The ground lease aside, we just need to go back and we may need to go back sometime soon to amend that to reflect some of the changes that will take place.
When's their plan to pay the money that was promised?
I'll just check. I got to go back and check.
It seems like we're doing an awful lot and we've got nothing in return so far. And I know it's for a good community benefit, so please don't take it. We deserve our money.
So the ground lease is gonna have to be amended to add the new property we're getting from the city. So that there's gonna be a little change there, and as soon as that, hopefully, I spoke with Joe Russell yesterday, and he was gonna get with the Y and their attorneys and try to start working on that.
Perfect.
Council reports, Jay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I sent out agricultural report earlier this week. So for the essence of time, I'd ask if anybody has any questions on that, and that'd be it.
Any questions for Jay?
Just, you were gonna resend me your outline for those webinars?
Yeah, I'll be sending that to you this morning, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
Manufacturing, Dave? Thanks, Jay.
Yep.
Only thing there is that we're waiting So we did get notification finally, which we normally would have gotten back this past summer, but, an allocation of $5,900 for the safety training program we do. But they're currently surveying all the grant recipients, to make sure everybody still wants and can use that money. If there's any that, turn it down, wherever they, so we don't have any contract yet, but, when we get that, our plan right now is, 5,900 is about a little bit less than half of what we've been getting, and that's the same for all the recipients. But we're obviously, when we do that, it's gonna do like we did toward the end of last year, probably more virtual training and some on-site training. And help still have room in the program needed to follow.
Thanks, Dave. Marshall, marketing.
Good morning, everyone. Couple of things here. Our new website goes live next week. And very excited about that, long time coming. And with that, our social media campaign is going to start right around March 1st. That's kind of been on hold as, you know, we haven't been doing social media stuff. But you know, the campaign will begin, and the website's really the backbone of that. So that's exciting, very exciting. We do have some other campaigns in place for 2021, including, I don't know how many of you listened to the 790 interview on Monday regarding the Y project. I ceded that interview time to Denise Young and Jim Wright as they were interviewed on 790 by the new host, JJ in the morning. I thought the interview went very well. We have campaigns with WPBS, WRVO, and Spectrum News for 2021, obviously including the social media stuff and 790. There is still some opportunity out there, so you know, I'm certainly willing to hear what people have to say regarding that stuff. You know, I look at these things from a strategic point of view, given their demographics and things like that, and they all have a place and a reason for being part of our offerings. One other thing I wanted to mention, the snowmobile survey for Tug Hill is going to be going out very soon, and that's going to be an opportunity for people that come from outside the area to talk about their reasons for coming here, what they're doing, you know, to really gain as much information as we can from the people that are snowmobiling up here. We know it's a big market. We know a lot of people are doing it, and excited to get some further information on that. So those are some sort of basic marketing things. Anybody have any questions for me?
What's the time frame on that survey? Is it include this season?
It's going to include this season, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Which is a good one, so.
Absolutely, it's going great. Yeah, excited about it.
Good. Unfinished business, Dave, for the LDC?
No, unless, I talked a little about Verdi project, it's kind of LDC and IDA depending on what happens. So I sent you all a letter. We're basically going to survey out all 64 grant recipients of the Lake Ontario Business Resiliency Program grants. Trying to get a handle of who's already started the project, who has not started, who might be interested in loan financing, and then working with council to then, once we have those numbers, then with the state to develop a program that we can offer those sales tax incentives benefits to those part of the local match, and try to do it in a streamlined way and affordable way, a way that's affordable. We may want to look at some point whether we want to make the loans we provide for those projects, which I think may only be a handful that will be interested in financing. You know, maybe even the 3% there that comes from the other programs.
Have you gotten any feedback from any of them yet?
Just target some of the things in now.
Okay.
So.
Can I ask who just joined so I can have a name?
That was Kevin McCullough from Barclay Damon, Joy.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else for unfinished business?
Dave, I have a question. What's the status of the equipment over there we sold to Lawler and Lundy?
Oh, Lawler was actually, had been sick with COVID, so he was out of action for 2 weeks, so I gotta check with Mike to see where they are with that. The other thing we have to do is, when we had the fence put up on the loading dock over there was no gate put in it, so we have to have a gate, put into that, so we can actually use the loading dock to get that equipment out of there. So they can't really do anything until we get that loading dock cleared.
That's Friday.
That's gonna happen, Marshall's talking, that's gonna happen next Friday.
Thank you.
Did we end up getting any takers for the other furniture that we were looking to get rid of, the desks and stuff?
Yeah, sure, as long as you're asking now, I can do now. So, we've had a number of not-for-profits, over there, taking, the chairs, desks. We've actually had, hospital, Kent Potsdam Hospital, Potsdam University, local hospital, and others are taking a fair number of the panels, you know, those cubicles they found useful for various uses. So I'll get that all tallied up. We're basically keeping that. We're starting now to open up the businesses that we want to go over. And just basically asking them, rather than us try to price the equipment and all that, just to get it out of there, just saying, hey, you know, glad to see this go to good use. In lieu of trying to price this and sell this to you at garage sale prices, please consider making a contribution to the YMCA capital campaign or your favorite charity. And we'll give them the contact information for that. Otherwise, we don't want to be over there putting stickers and everything and pricing it on.
Tag sale.
The amount that the nonprofits have taken, have they gotten 2/3 of the volume, half of it? What do we left with?
geez.
I'd say 1/3,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe a quarter,
Maybe.
maybe a quarter.
So there's,
Yeah, so, I mean, you had 900 cubicles and, you know, the chairs that go with each of those, plus offices on the side. I think a lot of the desks, a lot of people were interested in file cabinets, but not, they had the horizontal file cabinets, which a lot of people weren't as interested in, but, you know, we've had the zoo, we've had local land trust, we've had the Arts Council, we've had a whole variety of organizations taking advantage of the equipment over there. So.
Good.
So,
there's still lots more left, and that should be the word out there.
there is tons left, yeah.
And I think that's actually going to, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a pickup. And we have one that's kind of waiting that might take a significant number. That's a for-profit business that we've been waiting to.
Plus that.
All right, we have a resolution number 2021.01. Whereas distillery equipment is fully depreciated and CFO Lyle Eaton recommends removing it from our books and transfer ownership to Clayton Distillery. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Jefferson County Local Development Corporation that it herein approves the recommendation as set forth in this resolution. And be it further resolved that the chairman, vice chairman, secretary, and/or chief executive officer are authorized and directed to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out this purpose.
I'll move the resolution, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, probably also.
Any discussion on the resolution?
What was the original amount of that? Was that the 50?
$99.
On the resolution, all in favor, aye?
I,
Opposed? Resolution carries. Thank you. Does anyone have anything else for the LDC? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you. With that, I'll call to order the Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency. And again, I'll open the privilege of the floor.
I'd like to take a moment, please.
Sure.
My name is Tom Iverson. I'm with the Carpenters Union. And first of all, I appreciate the privilege of the floor. Allow me to speak. We monitor a lot of these solar farms that come into the 21 counties that we cover. And my question to the board is there a consistent application fee from each town and village that gets these applications for solar farms? I know they vary widely throughout the areas that I cover. Typical application fee per megawatt is approximately anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 per megawatt, or they get charged by the
the price of the construction of the project. Does the board look at a consistent across the board through the Jefferson County, put in place a consistent price tag for these farms?
Tom, well, our application fee is consistent, you know, for a solar project, for a manufacturing project, whatever, they all pay that 2% on the first 10 million, and we have gradual decreases for increased amount of the total project. That's the application fee. I think you're also talking about the payment of the pilot fee per megawatt.
I'm referring to codes permits, really.
Oh.
Don't know whether you talk to the local towns or the codes officers to make sure everything is across the board consistent. I know the application that went up at Shamont, I don't even know if they came in front of your board, but they got a very low price to put in that solar farm up there. And really my concern is if these solar farms come in and everyone's charging, say, $3,000 per megawatt, then it doesn't matter whether it's in the eastern half of Jefferson County or the western half of Jefferson County. It's a consistent application fee. But some of these villages are so desperate to get something in their area that they basically give the codes officer maybe $100, $200, $300 just for a building permit.
Yeah, Tom, I think in general, building permits may vary from town to town, whether it's for houses or solar projects. We don't have any involvement in that or control over that. Our main concern when it comes before us is it's gone through the planning board review, done the seeker and all that, but we don't have any involvement in collecting fees or even knowing what those fees are in each town or village, you know, within the county.
Also, the final question, when they come in front of you, are you insisting on a local labor clause before they get a pilot?
We do look at local labor and have that in consideration, but what we found, for example, like I'll give you an example when the Olya project went in late last year, talking to our local IBEW, they didn't have electricians local, they were already committed to projects outside the county, outside the state, so it's when it's available. So that is something we're discussing and looking at, where if the labor is available or not.
You know, to me, that's not a union or non-union. That's just, can we put the people locally to work?
Right.
Typically, these projects run from 3 to 9 months. Very basic application of outside of driving the pile, but you know, the assembly of the panels. You know, fairly basic work. Just want to make sure that the number one, the people are getting paid properly, where tax deductions on their paycheck are taken out, as opposed to some of these companies are coming in and paying cash, where nobody gets any revenue, you know, state, federal, local taxes off their paychecks. So just want to keep you people informed as what's going on out there.
I'll draw a reference to the Olya project in Clayton that's been completed.
Thank you.
That was a real struggle for them. Finding a local labor, so that was their number one problem with implementing their timelines, was they had a hard time filling with that labor pool. Anyone that wanted a job, there was a fair amount of churn of labor on that project, from what I understand from the locals. So it's kind of a problem.
The average turnover on a solar project is 40%.
We have had, just to chime in for a second, we've had discussions that I brought up on reporting requirements that I think we need to discuss when we look at amending our UTAP to ensure. I'd like to see where the labor is coming from, maybe a gross payroll by zip code to see if it's coming from the local area, just to make sure. And I think that's something we will discuss in the next UTAP, whether or not we can implement it. But I think that's important to do, because we have heard reports from other areas of the state where most of the construction workers are coming from another state. Buffalo, that was a huge issue on one of the wind projects. So I think it's something we're concerned about, and we're going to try to figure out a way to address it.
Yeah, and Paul, after that came up last time, as you mentioned, I've been thinking that, having a chance to talk to you and Chairman about it, we may want to bring folks like Tom here, John Driscoll into a meeting, kind of talk to us and give us some insights, maybe some suggestions on how we might address that issue.
Thank you.
When we have an agenda that's not quite so full.
Thanks, Tom. Anyone else? We all received the minutes from our last meeting of January 7th. Is there any additions and or corrections?
I'll move the minutes as presented, Rob also.
Second, John.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Treasurer's report, Rob.
Page 7 of your packet, so we got our RCI payment in, so it skews things on a linear basis. Break even is $109,500 a month. Right now, we're averaging $245. That'll settle down because the RCI is a one-time payment, and we get half of it back under the operational expense anyway. Under the operational, so far we're receiving more revenue than by plan, which is a good thing. Operational expense side, this is the break-even budget, $109,500 a month expenditures would be break-even. Right now, we're spending about $125. Again, that's skewed by RCI. If you took RCI out, we're averaging about $81,000 a month. So we'll be good over the next several months as that settles down. And we are continuing to spend less than planned, so that will be both good things. Operational expenses. When we look at net income over expenditures, we're surplus of 482. Again, that will settle down as the year goes on. Page 80 of your report packet, balance sheet. Quick assets are about 5.18 million, 174,000 greater than the prior month. Receivables are just under 1.5 million, 460,000 higher than prior month. Other expenditures, bad debt, et cetera, they've decreased about 5,000. Total current assets are up 631,000 from prior month. Total assets are up 680,000 from prior month. And total current liabilities are up 221, but I will make a note, it's really all the pilot monies that are flowing through the balance sheet. If you take that out, they're pretty de minimis liabilities out there. Page 9 of your packet, total capital, 7.6 million, 450,000 greater than prior month. Page 10 of your packet is 146 Arsenal. Once you take out all the soft expenses, like depreciation and et cetera, we're spending just under 90,000 a month on the average. We spend about 35,000 per year. We are coming into heating season, so you can see electricity and things. Although I'm surprised it's only $469. We've done a very good job. That's the electricity expense for the whole building. It's just a timing issue. But nevertheless, I know we're taking great efforts to minimize any current expenditures at that facility. Page 12, 13, and 14 are your loans that we have under the three across our last economic growth. And while you didn't actually send anything, normally you send a data sheet. I'm assuming they're all current. There's nothing to discuss about any of these.
They are all current, Rob, that's correct.
Okay, all right, good. I didn't hear any chatter, so I assume that. That's the treasurer's report. I make a motion to accept it as presented.
Second, John.
Questions or discussion? On the motion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I'll keep talking, Dave.
Go right at it, Rob.
Okay.
You're doing a good job.
Review. That's the only reason I said I'll keep talking.
No, I know.
So we met on a couple subjects, as Bill inferred in the LEC. We did a joint alternative energy loan review, so I'm only reporting on the loan review portion of this. So we met on Roth, and that's in our board packet later. I did point out, these like the last question, there were a couple of those minor defects in the application, were those confirmed with the applicant to be corrected, or can we correct those?
They were correct.
Yes.
Okay, good. I just wanted to, it's in those minutes, I just wanted to follow up on that. So there was nothing really, particularly, compelling to bring up, other than there was a couple improperly answered questions that we could tell were proper. So those have been corrected. You can see that in the board packet later for some resolutions. We also had a brief discussion on the projects in Philadelphia, solar, units A through D. There was a discussion about if a, what we call a placeholder pilot, I think what mine was call it, to go for 1 year so that the March 1st deadline could be back when the warrant date comes into effect. And at the time, we had imposed the deadline of getting back to us by the 5th. I think we were notified last evening that there may be an appetite to proceed this, and it's brought up in our LDC alternative energy meeting. I think we need further discussion on this. There was no discussion other than at the energy committee, the loan review committee, that it was brought in front of the full board. We was debated. That was our only promise. So I'll make note of that. US Light, Carthage A, Carthage B, those were more robustly discussed. We went through the application, corrected applications were sent by Mr. Richardson and Tony. We received those. I saw nothing that was attractive anymore about the applications that were sent through. And again, you'll see that those in the full work packet later on. That was it. That's everything for the review.
Any questions for Rob? Unfinished business, Dave? 146?
Yeah, I think we talked about that already so far. Only one other thing is that, speaking of heat and electricity, Marshall and I went through there about 2 weeks ago, right before Denise moved in there. One section was, it was unbearably hot in there. So it turns out the computer program that controls the heat system in there was off. So I just came in the other 2 days ago and fixed that. So that should cut down some of those heating expenses.
I just received a $5,600 electric bill for there, so. That's not shown here yet.
I didn't hear what you said, Lon.
$5,600 National Grid bill just came in.
That's more in line, because I thought $460 for a building of that size seemed a little bit peculiar.
Yeah, it is, and the bill came in yesterday, so it's not reflected here.
Is that for a 1 month period?
1 month.
Well, we gotta pay for Bill's retirement somehow.
Okay.
What was it prior? I mean, when Convergence was in there, what was the monthly?
We never got
Oh, they paid it, yeah.
Okay. We've discussed where the Y is and where we're headed there. And the READY program, there's nothing more.
No, like I said, we'll get some more information and, on who needs what, and we'll continue to work with council on trying to structure a program that would be acceptable to the state and help streamline that process.
Okay. We'll jump right into new business. We have a few resolutions here that we're going to try to get through. Resolution number 0211, 2021.01 is a resolution to adjust the fee arrangement for Olya Robinson Road LLC. Whereas Olya Robinson Road LLC is requesting to pay the pilot leaseback fee of $199,105 as follows. Pay 50% of the $99,552 at closing, and then pay the balance of $99,553 quarterly. Can I have a motion and a second on this resolution?
Yes, Paul Warnick.
A second, Joe. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. Not opposed to anything here. I think there's some clarity. Pay the balance of $99,553.40. So I'm inferring that that's 4 equal payments, but that's an assumption, not
Yes,
stated clearly.
so it'll be paid out over the
I
next
think
year.
we need to say, when is it paid? The first of the quarter or the last of the quarter? And is it net 30? But I'd like some clarity put in here that it's 4 equal quarterly payments payable upon the first day of the quarter, due net 30 or something of that nature. There needs to be some clarity of when we're getting the money.
Lyle?
Well, we can modify it any way you like. I would say the total fee on each of these projects is $199,000. 50% of that would be payable as soon as you approve it. And then 3 months from now, the first payment of the portion of the second 99,000 would be payable and so on.
Okay, again, I would rather see clarity here because.
So we can do that. I mean, the intent was to have 4 equal payments, Robert. You're right. We clarified
Let's
that.
state clearly what our intent is then, so we're not unclear.
Yep, that's fine.
So we'll say,
So payable balance 99,553 and 4 equal quarterly payments due on the first day of the quarter, net 30.
Okay, we can work with it anyway. That would apply to both resolutions.
you're putting that as an amendment to the resolution, correct?
I'm stating it as an amendment, but I have one other question.
Sure.
So we're gonna build up 99,552 at closing. I would assume the first equal quarterly payment would be the following quarter. So they wouldn't be making a quarterly payment within the same period of time they paid the first payment? Is that?
Correct.
is
That's
something
correct.
else?
Yep.
Okay, so maybe we can make that clarity as well. So I have no issue with the first statement. The second statement should read pay the balance of 99, whatever, starting the first quarter after closing, 4 equal payments, due the first day of the quarter at 30. If that's clear enough.
So are you saying, Rob, if they close on the 15th of the month, then the first quarter would be 3 months later on the 15th? Or would you make it just?
Yeah, so let's say they close the 15th of March, and the quarter ends on the 30th of March. Their next payment would be.
First of April?
Skip a quarter, I believe.
It'd be
Now,
July,
if you would
yeah.
rather see it a different way, it's just the way this is worded is extremely unclear to me.
Okay.
What they're agreeing to and what we're promising.
Why don't we say beginning quarterly, June 1st?
Yeah, pick a date. When do we close, like right now?
When are you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't been working on the Olya project.
Okay.
That's a Joe Russell issue.
Why don't we
I
leave?
mean, if the board's happy, I'm happy with saying the first quarterly payment starts June 1st. I mean, like Paul said, let's just pick a date.
Well, why don't we say, just in case something gets held up with the closing, why don't we just say the first of the next quarter?
Yeah, and that's fine too. That's what I believe was intended by this. So pay the balance starting the first of the following quarter in 4 equal quarterly payments payable on the first date of the quarter at 30.
Okay. Do I have a second on Rob's amendment to the resolution?
I'll second it.
On the amendment, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. On the resolution. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution carries. And we will again do this for the next resolution. Have resolution number 0211-2021.02. It's a resolution for fee arrangement for Olya Wayside Drive LLC. And again, whereas Olya Wayside Drive LLC is requesting to pay the pilot leaseback fee of $199,105 as follows 50%, 99,552 at closing, and a balance of 99,553 quarterly equal. Yeah, let me put this, 4 equal quarterly payments due on the first day of each quarter, net 30.
Dave, I would move the resolution with the language as amended in the brief.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
Yes, sir.
On the resolution, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. I have resolution number 0211-2021.03 to approve acquisition of land from the city of Watertown. Whereas the Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency, the agency is requesting approval to acquire a strip of land 75 foot by 135 foot from the city of Watertown to accommodate the pool area of the Watertown Family-Wide MCA project at 146 Archstone Street. And whereas the city of Watertown has offered to deed the property to the JCIDA for $1. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Directors, Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency, that it hereby approves and requests it. And be it further resolved that the Chief Executive Officer or his designee is hereby authorized and directed to execute on behalf of the agency necessary to complete this acquisition. Can I have a motion and a second with regards to this resolution?
I'll move it.
Second, Olya on that.
Any discussion?
Just correct the typo, it's D, it's D-E-E.
Yeah, I saw that.
D on there, I think it's missing.
It is.
This is Lisa. I think I probably should recuse myself from this because I know that this will come before city council to vote on.
Okay.
And since we're down to 4 people, I think that if we have a quorum today without my vote, I would rather recuse and be able to vote on it at city council level.
So noted, Lisa. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And for this resolution, roll call vote, please. Joy, can you do that?
Joy, you're muted.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Roll call vote.
Is there a roll call vote on this one? Okay. Ron, Olya,
Yes.
Dave Powers,
Yes.
John Jennings,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Lisa has recused herself. Ed Baldridge,
Yes.
Paul Warren.
Yes.
Motion carries. We own more property as soon as the city votes on it. Attorney Miller. Hello, Justin. How are you?
Doing well, Chairman. How are you?
Good. We have a resolution for Roth Industries.
Yes, sir. They've submitted an application for what will be their third project and second expansion at that facility. They started off with the IDA back in 2005 with a industrial development bond transaction and pilot. Expanded that facility in 2016 and 17 with the IDA's assistance, and we now have the third iteration, which entails approximately 6,700 square foot addition to the existing facility, plus a separate standalone 10,000 square foot warehousing facility to be located on the same site. We're working with Dave and the staff on that application and have prepared a resolution for your consideration today to accept the application and authorize a public hearing for the project and the proposed financial assistance, including a pilot agreement that Dave and Lyle, I think, can provide details on, but I recall it's a 10-year structure.
Correct. So for the board, I think we mentioned this before, this would be 100% abatement for the first 5 years, 50% abatement for the next 5 years, and then go to full taxation in year 11. So basically, over the 15 years, it still averages out to the 50% discount on the property taxes. It's just an accelerated payment where it front loads the benefit to the company, but it also gets it back on the tax roll sooner than the tax jurisdictions.
Okay. I have resolution number 02.11.2021.04. Resolution of the Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency accepting an application submitted by Roth Industries Incorporated with respect to a certain project that's described below, authorizing the scheduling and conduct of a public hearing with respect to the project, describing the forms of financial assistance being contemplated by the agency and authorizing negotiation of certain agreements relating to the project. With that, I'd entertain a motion and a second on this resolution.
So moved. Second, Rob Leonso.
Any discussion?
Um,
Roll call
I
vote,
would
please.
like to
Oh,
point
I'm
out,
sorry, go ahead, Rob.
pilot application, since Tom brought this up earlier, they listed all of their contractors. There's considerable, if not almost exclusively, contracting within Jefferson County. So it does work, Tom. We do ask those questions. Thanks for bringing it up earlier.
Yes, Rob.
Good point, Rob.
On the resolution, roll call vote, Joey?
Yep. Rob Leonso,
Yes.
Dave Cumbers,
Yes.
John Jennings,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes,
Ed Waldron,
Yes.
Paul Rudy.
Yes.
Resolution carries, thank you. Page 32. Moving right along. Resolution number 02.11.2021.05. It's a resolution determining that the action towards the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping of a certain commercial project for New York USLE Carthage SR 26 at a LLC, the company, will not have a significant effect on the environment. Can I have a motion and a second on this environmental resolution?
Horning, yes.
I'll second.
second, Lisa?
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
We have a
We have
roll
roll
call.
call.
Is there a roll call on this one?
vote.
Yep, roll call vote. I'm sorry.
Dave Cumbers,
Yes.
John Jennings,
Yes.
Rob Leonso,
Yes.
Ed Waldron,
Yes.
Paul Rudy,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes,
Resolution carries, thank you. I have resolution number 02.11.2021.06. Resolution taking preliminary official action toward the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping for a certain commercial project for New York USLE Carthage SR 26, the LLC, the company, and authorizing the execution and delivery of a preliminary agreement with that company with respect to such transaction. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved, Rob Leonso.
Second, John.
Discussion. No discussion. On the resolution, roll call vote, please.
Dave Chambers,
Yes.
John Jennings,
Yes.
Rob Eliason,
Yes.
Ed Vogel,
Yes.
Paul Warner,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Lisa Leslie,
Yes.
Resolution carries. Thank you. Page 43. We have a preliminary agreement. This preliminary agreement made as of February 11th, 2021, being between Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency, the agency, a public benefit corporation organized and existing under the laws of the state of New York, and New York USLE Carthage SR 26, a LLC, the company, a limited liability company organized and existing under the laws of the state of Delaware. Can I have a motion and a second on this?
So moved. Rob Eliason.
Paul Warner, second.
Discussion on this preliminary agreement. Do we have a roll call on this one too?
yes, there is.
Roll call vote, please.
Wait a minute.
Yep, page 54.
No, there wasn't a roll call, I'm sorry.
Well, that's for a different one.
Sorry.
They're all mingled together. I think we should have a roll call vote. Do I say
Roll call, Dave Chambers,
yes?
John Jennings,
Yes.
Rob Eliason,
Yes.
Ed Vogel,
Yes.
Paul Warner,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. We have an environmental resolution. Resolution number 0211, 2021.07. It's a resolution determining the action toward the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping of a certain commercial project for New York USLE Carthage SR 26B LLC, the company, will not have a significant effect on the environment. I have a motion and a second on this resolution, please.
Paul Warner, yes.
Bill Johnson, second.
Discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Dave Chambers,
Yes.
John Jennings,
Yes.
Rob Eliason,
Yes.
Ed Vogel,
Yes.
Paul Warner,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Lisa Leslie,
Yes.
Resolution carries. We have a preliminary inducement resolution. Resolution number 0211, 2021.08. Resolution taking preliminary official action towards the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping of a certain commercial project for New York USLE Carthage SR 26B LLC, the company, and authorizing the execution and delivery of a preliminary agreement with the company with respect to such transaction. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Rob Eliason.
Second, John.
Discussion on this resolution. Roll call vote, please.
Dave Chambers,
Yes.
John Jennings,
Yes.
Rob Eliason,
Yes.
Ed Vogel,
Yes.
Paul Warner,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Resolution carries. Thank you. And we have a preliminary agreement. This preliminary agreement made as of February 11, 2021 between Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency, the agency, a public benefit corporation organized and existing under the laws of the state of New York, and New York USLE Carthage SR 26B B LLC, the company, a limited liability company organized and existing under the laws of the state of Delaware. I have a motion and a second, please.
I'll move it.
Second, John.
Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Dick Younger,
Yes.
John Jennings,
Yes.
Rob Alonso,
Yes.
Ed Wojcik,
Yes.
Paul Warner,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes,
Resolution carries. Thank you. And I have one that's not in our packet. Resolution number 0211-2021.09. It's a resolution to reappoint Paul Warnick to the Wood LDC Board.
We get the.
I better mute myself.
Can I have a motion in a second?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I'll abstain.
Other than his abstention, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome to back to another committee, Paul.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, just for the board's benefit, we'll get the notices out for the public hearing, the 3 projects that we're doing, the solar project and the Roth project. We're going to be doing those hearings on February 24th.
Okay. We also received, thought I had it here with me, but I noticed that I can say congratulations, Paul and Lisa, you've both been reappointed to the IDA for another 4 years by the Jefferson County Board of Legislatures. Welcome aboard again, or still.
Congratulations.
Does anyone have anything else for new business?
Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't know if you're done with your learning.
You mean I don't get paid quarterly, starting the next quarter? Next year?
So at this time, they've.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the board if we could go to an executive session to discuss the credit financial history of a particular corporation and ask Attorney Miller to stay on the line if he could.
I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put everybody in the waiting room. Is that how we're gonna do it?
I need a motion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. Jumping ahead.
Can I have a motion and a second to go into an executive session?
I'll move it.
Second.
Let the record show that we're gonna invite staff and Attorney Miller to stay with us.
I'm here with you folks.
Thank you.
Okay, this is gonna take me a minute because I have to stop the live stream too, so bear with me. And that's Chris Powers. Okay, all right, now let me just,
Hey, Marshall,
yes, sir.
I don't think it really matters, but Chris is still on, she's on the LDC board now.
That's right, yeah.
I don't think anybody's really opposed to that, but.
No.
She wasn't invited to executive session, I guess, is all I did.
That's fine.
Now that we're in executive session, everybody knows that.
Okay, so just a quick